Good afternoon. If you had told me a month ago that I would be giving my chapel talk in my bedroom on the computer rather than at the podium, I would have told you that you'd lost your mind and that I would never sacrifice my chapel talk like that. That's why when Rev G first emailed me to explain the new way that we were going to be doing chapel, I thought, well, that's a wrap. No chapel talk for me. Upon further reflection, however, I realized that this was important enough to me to give, even in a less than ideal way. This talk means something, and even if I can't give it the way I wanted to, I need to say what I need to say. So today, I'm going to do something that I have only very rarely done in the past, and honestly may never do again. I'm going to admit that I was wrong. Snap judgments are something that I've always struggled with. I'm someone that tends to assume that I'm right, and my know-it-all personality combined with my tendency to judge has left me with a lot of regret. But before I tell you all about my deepest insecurities and darkest regrets, let me give you some context. For quite a long time, I've proudly claimed the title of judgy. Most of the time, from the smallest interaction or even just from seeing you in passing, I have already decided who you are without ever giving you the opportunity to tell me. To give you an idea of how quick I am to judge, let me give you some examples. Example 1. It's sophomore year. There's a new girl in my grade. I've heard some things about her, but we've never spoken. I've only seen her in passing. I see who she hangs out with, the clothes she wears, and I get snippets of her behavior. I decide she's annoying, she's obnoxious, and most importantly, I don't like her. This girl is Amber Asmude. Example 2. It's freshman year. I see this one guy around from time to time, and he's just odd. He's always got a menacing look on his face, and quite frankly seems bizarre. I don't have any classes with him, nor do I know anyone that does, but I decide that he's scary and weird and should definitely be avoided. This guy is Mr. Reynolds. Example number 3. It's September 2016. I step into a new place and see hundreds of unfamiliar faces. I see hugs and smiles and handshakes, but none of them seem to be meant for me. I choose to believe that my difficulty in meeting new people is the fault of those around me, rather than a reflection of my own introverted personality. I decide immediately that I don't belong, and that it's because the people there don't want me to belong. This place is Episcopal High School. When I arrived at Episcopal, I was so quick to decide who people were and what this community was about that I closed myself off from the opportunity to learn. I immediately decided to remain within my circle of friends, knowing that anyone outside of my immediate friend group was absolutely awful, and that I should never interact with them. This was how I lived my life for my first 2 years at Episcopal. Hiding, avoiding interacting with the majority of my peers, and silently, and usually not so silently, judging people who I knew nothing about. So, this is where my regret lies, right here. Because I missed so much, and I closed myself off from so much. There are so many activities, experiences, and friendships that I missed out on and I will never get back because I decided that they weren't meant for me. I was hiding. Those of you who know me, it may not have seemed that way, but that's what I was doing. I was hiding behind my judgmental, know-it-all personality because I was terrified to take any social risks. During my junior year, however, I began to realize that my closest friend was going to be graduating and leaving me essentially alone. So I knew that I was either going to be friendless or I needed to get it together and play nice. So, after a few years of hiding, I reluctantly decided to try and become a member of the community. And believe it or not, I made the astonishing discovery that I was wrong about pretty much everything. I finally found that I was, in fact, a member of the community, and that not only did the people around me want me to belong, I'd always belonged. With this realization, I began to make new choices to branch out into the community and form connections with the people that I had previously shunned. Here are some examples. After living on Dal for 3 years, I have fully assumed my title as a Dal gal, and am proud to wear it, as well as brokenhearted that I won't be living with my girls again. Example 2. My junior year, I co-started a club based entirely off of my love for a TV show, and it may have been a logistical disaster, but I'm proud of it. And finally, a month ago, I went on a spring break trip with a huge chunk of the class of 2020 and came to really love people who I had never previously taken the time to know. I love you, class of 2020, and I'm sorry for being a bit of a jerk. Now, I'm not claiming to know much, but this experience has taught me a few things. So if you're anything like me, or even if you aren't, let me give you some advice. You don't know everything. You're going to make snap judgments from time to time, and that's okay. But I'm going to tell you now that you're probably wrong. But even if you still think you're right, give life a chance to prove you wrong. Open yourself up to the possibility of having made a mistake, because once that possibility opens, you can find you can really live. So here's where I say words that I never thought that I would say. I'm glad to finally admit that I was wrong. Because Amber Asmude, that annoying girl from sophomore year, is one of the best friends that I've ever had. Because Mr. Reynolds, that scary, weird dude from freshman year, is the most incredible advisor and my most favorite adult on the Episcopal campus, despite that he is actually scary and weird. But most of all, because Episcopal High School, that unwelcoming monolith from September 2016, is the most special community and home that this world has to offer. And I can't imagine having spent high school anywhere else. And even though this chapel talk is technically for you all, let's bring it back to the most important part. Me. Because this is my story. I'm giving you advice, but it's based off of my life and my regrets. And you might not care. This might not apply to you, you might not be listening, and this may be the worst chapel talk that you've ever heard. But even if all of that is true, at least I know that not giving a chapel talk won't be one of my regrets. Thank you, stay healthy, and God bless the high school.